Yo, so what's up, y'all? So check it out. Doing something a little different to the Gladiator today. So if you're watching any of my videos, back in 2021, I had about 70,000 miles on this thing. I installed airbags. Now, I usually don't like to do a lot of explaining. I like to really get into work, but I feel like I gotta explain to y'all a little bit about what we got going on. So right here is the 1000 Airlift 1000 HD airbag. Now, this bag is made for the Ram 1500, but since the Ram 1500 and the Gladiator share the same rear suspension, you can use it in there. And the reason I use the one for the 1500 is because the ones that came for the Gladiator wasn't tall enough. And why weren't they tall enough? It's because I got a lifted Jeep. Now, I put them on there back when I had the Mopar 2-inch lift. Now I got a 3.5-inch metal cloak lift, and you know, to make them work, I had to put a spacer in there, run the line through it, all that. I had to make it work. And so I put those on there. They've been working out great. And first of all, I want to say to y'all, why do I need airbags on a Jeep Gladiator? Because I can do what I want to do. It's mine, right? Gotcha. But really, seriously, I do more than just wheel with this thing. If y'all seen the videos, y'all see me go rock crawling, wheeling, off-roading, whatever. I do all of that. And the airbags worked out great. I just deflate them when I'm wheeling, not a problem. They allow it to flex, everything. And these bags provide up to 1,000 pounds of extra support. Now I want to put this out there. These airbags are not to increase any type of towing capacity whatsoever. Now, the truth is, you can tow with anything. Doesn't matter whether it's car, SUV, truck, whatever. You can tow with anything as long as you stay within the towing capacity. But what you can't do is put airbags on your vehicle, no matter what it is, and think that, oh, okay, I got extra towing capacity, it's going to increase it. No, it won't. These are for support only. Support. So all you guys out with Jeep Gladiators or Wranglers or whatever you got with all Toyota, with that extra overland gear in it that you want to, got your rig sagging in the back, support. That's all it's for. Now, like I said, these things have been working great. I got over 200,000 miles on them. I put them on in 2021, April or something like that, who knows. And I got all those miles on them. They still working. And they are rated for 1,000 pounds of extra support. I got the suspension all down so you can see it a little better. Here's the airbag where it fits in the spring. The airline runs up through the top, over back somewhere, and I got it where I can air up both at the same time because I have a T fitting in it. Too easy, right? Whenever you install these, you got to take the coil spring out. Now, let me go over to my Ram and I'm going to show you something in there. So about a year ago, in the Ram, I installed Airsprings in the back. Now the difference between the Airsprings and the airbags, the airbags go in the coil spring and the Airsprings themselves go in between the axle and the frame. Let me show you. Now it's kind of hard to see, but if you see right there, there's the bag right there. You can see the metal part up top where it bolts right up to the frame, and down here on the other side there is where it mounts to the axle. There's another view from the front of the tire. I'm on the driver's side, and once again, you can see the airbag right there. It goes between the frame and the axle. Now, the airbags that I got on my Jeep are the HD model of the 1000. Like I said, 1,000 pounds extra support, but they're the HD, which means they're a little bit stiffer than the normal ones. I think the normal ones are like red and these are black. That's how you know the difference. So, a little bit stiffer. Now the ones on the Ram are the 5000. They're supposed to give you up to 5,000 pounds of extra support. Support, not increased towing capacity, support. Now, Airlift has come out with these. The Airspring suspension for the Jeep Gladiator. This is supposed to give you up to 3,400 pounds of extra support. Not 5,000 like on the Ram, but more than the 1,000 on the airbags. And he's supposed to give you up to 3,400 pounds of support. Again, support. I know that's like the fourth time I said it, but I feel like I gotta keep stressing to people that this is support only. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the old airbags out, install these, and we're gonna call it a day. Now, being that you gotta take the springs out to put these in, and looking at how the install went on the Ram and the directions for the install on the Gladiator, it's gonna be more trouble getting these out than it will to put the new springs in. So, but can't have them both. So let's get started. Oh, one more thing I gotta say. So I went to Jeeptoberfest and they had a CTI rack there. I got on the CTI rack. Now, it didn't flex as good as I thought it should, but I figured out why. For some odd reason, the driver side airbag, I don't know whether the flex from the Jeep on the CTI rack pinched the line, because I deflated them right before I got on the rack. But once I got on the rack, I don't know whether, or maybe it didn't deflate when I let them out. I don't know. But either way, the air was trapped in the airbag. So the driver's side airbag had air in it, and the passenger side was completely empty. Therefore, it wouldn't allow it to flex, which was kind of disappointing. And I was so pissed off that, you know, I was just gonna cut the line to the airbag because I knew I was taking them out anyway and just let it flex just to see what I get. But, you know, what do you do? So this alleviates that, hopefully. Now, unlike the Ram where the airbag mounts to the frame and mounts to the axle, the ones for the Gladiator, from the way it seems, it mounts to the frame, but on the axle it just sits in a cup. So if you deflate it, it'll still flex. I'm hoping. We'll see. All right, y'all, so this is what I was hoping for. Springs out. The easier way probably would have been to take the lower shock bolt out and take the track bar loose so it hangs all the way down. But here's the thing, to put those air springs in, I don't need it that low. I just had to lower this low to get these out. And looking at this, yeah, it's fully inflated. I don't even know why, because they're deflated. So this bag is fully inflated. Well, not fully inflated, but it's got enough air to keep it from compressing. So I don't know what's going on, but it's coming out anyway. And now that I got the spring out, I was able to pop it out, get it low enough without having to take a bunch of stuff loose. I can pull it out. Like I said, I'm cutting the lines because I'm not reusing them. I actually had extra lines and extra bags for this kit. I had 2 kits. So I'm just cutting these lines. So now I see what happened. If you can see right there, it did get kinked up and smashed up right there. And that's what trapped the air in there. Now, this is y'all don't hate, because this is a cup thing that I made, my own little spacer that I created to give some space, because I got this 3.5-inch lift kit. And if I didn't put a spacer on here, then when this bag is fully extended, it wouldn't have done any good. Even though it's off the Ram and it's a little bit longer, it wouldn't have done any good because I got a 3.5-inch lift kit on here and there was room in there. So I had to make my own little spacer. But it didn't turn out so well because you can see right there, line got all kinked up, air got trapped in there, and that's why I did so poorly on that CTI rack. Wow. Live you learn. All right, so I got the airbag out of the driver's side and got the spring back in. And let me help you out. Do yourself a favor. Yeah, go ahead and take that shock bolt out, the lower one on the driver's side. Matter of fact, to make it easier, just take the shock bolts out, the bottom ones out. I've already got this one out on the passenger side. Now, I'm gonna take this bag out and see what it looks like. We already know that my little spacer deal didn't work. It made it worse, it kinked up the line. So we're gonna see how this one looks. Again, cutting line. airbag looks rough. All right, y'all, so I had to get the slip joint pliers or channel locks, whatever you want to call them, and pull that thing out. So here's the driver's side with the kinked up line, and here's the passenger side. So you can see the passenger side doesn't have a kinked up line, and being that this one was kinked up, that's what caused the problem on the CTI rack, and the air got trapped in the bag. And I don't think the CTI rack did that. I think it was already like that from wheeling and suspension or whatever. This one worked fine. Now, this is no fault of Airlift or their airbags, because that contraption that I had made really doesn't come like that. So that was something that I did that didn't work out like I thought it would. But I gave it a shot, right? So if you put the regular bags in your Jeep and just deflate them, it'll flex with no problem on the trails or on the CTI rack if that's your thing. But I wanted to show you something else real quick. Look at the difference, driver's side, passenger side. Look at how the coil spring is grooved the bag up. And when it expands in between the coil springs. So it looks completely different. I don't know why I did that. Maybe one of y'all can chime in and tell me why, but who knows. So I'm gonna get these springs put back in. That way I can get to work on putting the air springs on. So let's go. All right, so the first thing they want you to do is take the bump stop out, rubber jounce, whatever you want to call it. Then they want you to take the brake line bracket out, because they actually give you another bracket to replace this one. So I can move it out of the way. I had to actually look at the video a couple times, and I had to look at the directions to make sure. So they say you got to put this here, and you got to put it where the notch, because that's where the air fitting is going to go, the 90 degree, where it's facing up, which is that way, and out towards the wheel opening. So you see the slot right there. I'm going to put it here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a notch up front. That way I can cut it out with the cutting wheel and make a notch, because the air fitting has to go there. So, and just so you know, these things are marked L for left and R for right, so you know where to go. That's where I cut the notch out. Sits in there, 90 degree fitting goes in there. I'm gonna hit it with file those sharp edges down, put some black spray paint on it, and then we'll be set to go on this one. All right, y'all, so check it out. I had to do a little modification. So, per the directions in the video, if I read it right, I should have been using these two holes right here, which is what I did. I put them in the holes, and when I mounted it over here, the video said the cradle should sit a little forward of the axle and out. So I said, okay, so when I put it on here, it sat back here, but it was still out a little bit, and it was close to that, and I'll explain that in a second, but it sat back, and I was like, well, that's not right. So what I did was I just changed and used the other two holes, and it fits perfect. Now, so if you notice, it sits out, and it sits forward. So I got that right. But now if you notice right there, it sits right close to that spring, and we'll just have to see what the contact is, and if so, then I'll have to find some way to adjust the plate or something. I'll have to figure out something to do. But the reason it's like that is because normally, and I might have to take this bracket from Mopar off, but the way it's supposed to sit, well, you know what, I guess I could drill the holes out and move it over a little bit. But anyway, the way it's supposed to sit is down lower, so it would be even with that spring, so you wouldn't have to worry about anything. There'd be no contact. But since I got the Mopar riser bracket right here, it's bringing it right close to that spring. So we'll see what happens. So now what I got to do is, because the notch is up there, airline fitting right there, start it like so. Two on the other side, one on each side, keep it from moving. Our flat washer. lock nut. Now I'm gonna get it somewhat tight, but I'm not gonna tighten it down because I need to go to the other side, put this bracket in, modify it, do what I gotta do, and do the same thing to the other side. That way I can then tighten it up, lift the axle back up, and put the bracket that they have for the brake line, and I'll show you that in a second. Let me get to the other side and get that done first. Now, so I got the brake line relocation bracket installed. Just a tapered bolt that goes there. See the tab on the brake line bracket? And all it does is, instead of having it down here, it swings it back and out of the way. That's all. Now I'm gonna let the axle back up. Well, lift the axle back up and reconnect my rear sway bar and then run the lines. Well, that's it, y'all. I got all my lines ran to the bags. Everything's good to go. Now, one thing I did do is I plumbed 2 separate lines with 2 valves right inside the bed. One's over there and one's over here on this side of the bed. You can see it by that circuit breaker that doesn't work anymore, so I gotta take it out, do it here in a minute. But that's where it goes. Now, the reason I did that is because on the Jeep before, I had a T-fitting where I can pump them both up at the same time. But with the Ram over there, I have the fittings to where I could pump up a bit. Tongue twister, y'all. I got them plumbed so I can pump them up individually. Then I got a wire splitter hose that I made where I could pump them up both with the same pressure if I wanted to. So with the Jeep, that's what I did this time. I'll have them separate so that I could pump them up separate, or I could put my wire splitter hose and pump them up at the same time. So that's what we got working on. But that's it. Y'all know the deal. Y'all stay safe. Don't forget to smile. Go out and do something and change your life. Peace out, y'all. All right, so I got an update for y'all. So I went wheeling over the weekend. It worked out great. No issues, none at all. But to me personally, I didn't like the way that when the axle's all the way up, and I got the jack with it jacked up right now to simulate the truck sitting on the tire, well, with the tires on the axles. This bag was sitting right on top of the cradle about there. And personally, I didn't like that because I still think in my mind that limits flex. Because even though I tow with this thing, I haul with this thing, I still do go wheeling with this thing. So it just made me uncomfortable personally. I just didn't like the way it sat right on the cradle and it was compressed a little bit, because I felt like if I really did have to flex, it would limit me. So what I did was I took that plate off that came with the Mopar lift kit, and instead of sitting it on there, I let it sit right on top of the axle plate where the direction says it should go. And now you can see there's space under there. And what I did was I went and pumped it up, and it pushed the bag down to the cradle, and it hit the plate only at about 30 pounds. So that means if I actually had to put 50, 60 or so pounds in it, then it would still support the truck like it's supposed to do, give me that extra support like I'm looking for, and I'd be good to go. So I'm gonna leave that plate off, and next time I take it out wheeling, see how it flexes, see what it does, and if it does anything, and go from there. I'm gonna hold on to my place just because I feel like if I ever have to go up to a 4.5 inch lift kit, 5 or 6 or something like that, I'm gonna need that plate back. So I'm gonna keep these for future, because I do have a feeling that one day I'm gonna end up going to a 4.5 lift kit, something like that. So I'm gonna hold on to these, but for now, that's what I'm gonna do. When I get ready to go somewhere, put about 50, 60 pounds in it, because they do go up to 100 pounds, and I'm good to go. Well, that's it. I'm glad I got a chance to take this thing out wheeling with the way it was, and to make me feel better, I took that out, and I'm glad I got a chance to update y'all on that. So if y'all want to try the Airspring kit out from Airlift to give you extra support for all your stuff, there it is. There you have it. The installation is not that complicated, and make it happen. So again, y'all stay safe. Go out and change your life, y'all. Peace out.